Let's just dive right into this. If you're a modern web developer, you already know the core problem we're facing pretty much every single day. We're tasked with building these web services that demand absolute, uncompromising speed and just massive scalability. But so often, the very tools and frameworks we reach for, they come packed with this dragging weight of unnecessary bloat. You want a streamlined service, but suddenly you inherit templating engines, heavy ORMs, and admin panels that you are never, ever going to use for a raw API. So today, we're looking at a real solution to that exact problem in our explainer on the Falcon framework, a tool that is engineered specifically to optimize high-performance APIs.
Here's our roadmap for today. We are going to start with the need for speed, define what Falcon is, explore how it achieves speed, look at building APIs with Falcon, and finally wrap up by asking, is Falcon for you? Let's jump in. Section 1, the need for speed. It's just the inescapable reality of modern web development, right? When you're building a microservice or maybe a backend for some massive front-end app, literally every single millisecond counts. In those heavy, feature-rich frameworks, they can unexpectedly slow down your response times right when you need lightning-fast performance the most. So think about a Formula One race car for a second. If you want to achieve pure, unadulterated speed on a racetrack, you don't build a luxury sedan. No way. You strip out the air conditioning, you yank out the radio, remove the passenger seats. Basically, you eliminate every single ounce of non-essential weight. Well, that is exactly what we're doing here with software. Achieving pure speed in API development requires stripping away all those non-essential features and layers you'd normally find in traditional full-stack frameworks. You literally only keep what makes the car go fast. Section 2. What is Falcon? Okay, so if we're building an F1 race car for the web, what exactly is the engine? Well, Falcon is a minimalist web server gateway interface, or WSGI framework, and it's designed to do exactly one thing and do it incredibly well: build fast and efficient APIs. Its core philosophy is, and I quote, focusing solely on HTTP and REST API development. By making this really deliberate, hardline choice to avoid full-stack bloat, Falcon ensures there are significantly fewer layers between the server and your application software. And look, it's simple math. Fewer layers mean less latency. Less latency means a drastically improved response time for your end users. It's minimalism, sure, but with a very specific, highly optimized purpose. Moving on to Section 3, how Falcon achieves speed. Now that we know what it is, let's unpack exactly how this blazing speed is physically achieved down at the code level. Honestly, Falcon's secret weapon is Python. Now, Python is universally loved for its simplicity and its readability, we all know that, but it's not exactly historically known for raw, bare metal speed. Well, Python bridges that gap. It's actually a superset of Python that gives you C-like performance while still letting you write in that comfortable Python-like syntax. By literally compiling the Python code into C under the hood, Falcon secures these crucial, exponential speed improvements that you absolutely require for true high-performance applications. Basically, you're getting the awesome developer experience of Python, but with the runtime execution speed of C. It's a total game changer. But hey, Python is just one piece of the puzzle here. Falcon handles immense traffic effortlessly by supporting asynchronous request handling. This means it can manage multiple concurrent requests without even breaking a sweat, completely maximizing your server's resource utilization. On top of that, it gives you, the developer, direct access to the HTTP and WSGI internals. It doesn't try to hide the raw mechanics from you behind a bunch of magic. And that level of control, it absolutely empowers you to fine-tune your operations and just squeeze every last drop of efficiency out of your API. All right, Section 4, building APIs with Falcon. So, theory is great, but let's actually shift gears and take Falcon for a quick test drive. Now, you might be thinking a hyper-optimized framework would be a massive headache to use, but standing up an API requires just 3 incredibly simple steps. Step 1, you literally just install it via your terminal with pip install Falcon. Easy. Step 2, you define your resource classes, like say a Hello World resource class. And step 3, you add your routes, which is just pointing a specific URL path to that resource class. And that's it. That's the whole shebang. A deeply performance-focused framework absolutely does not have to mean a complex, frustrating setup process. Let's look a little closer at step 2 really quick, those resource classes, because they actually dictate the whole architecture of your app. Falcon encourages you to organize your code around distinct resources using HTTP verbs as your actual method names. So you're literally writing functions called onGet and onPost. Mapping directly to HTTP verbs like this promotes incredibly clean, intuitive, and highly maintainable code. Think about it. When a new engineer joins your team and looks at a Falcon codebase, they are going to know exactly what every single function does instantly, purely based on its name. Now, I know you might be wondering, if we stripped out the air conditioning and the radio, how on earth do we handle the essentials? Well, I want to reassure you here. Despite its intense minimalism, Falcon still robustly supports those essential modern API features through hooks and middleware. You can easily set up mechanisms to execute specific code right before or right after a request is processed. So this means handling critical, everyday tasks like logging, authentication, and global error handling is totally seamless. It keeps your core application logic perfectly clean while still maintaining a deeply robust API.
Which brings us to Section 5. Is Falcon for you? We've seen how fast it is. We've seen how clean the code is. Now we really need to determine if this highly specialized tool is actually the right fit for your next big project. And the easiest way to figure that out is by juxtaposing Falcon against the heavier hitters in the Python ecosystem. On one side, you've got Falcon, right? It's lightweight, entirely performance-focused, minimalist, and strictly REST-only. On the other side, you have mainstays like Flask and Django. Now those are feature-rich, packed with built-in tools, and they are fantastic for rapid full-stack development where you might need a database ORM, HTML templates, and form validation right out of the box. Look, if you're building a traditional monolithic web app, go with Django. But if speed, efficiency, and pure RESTful API performance are your absolute primary concerns, Falcon's hyper-focused environment is going to outpace them every single time. Because of that clear distinction, Falcon absolutely dominates in a few very specific ideal use cases. If you're building microservices that need to communicate with zero latency, Falcon is perfect. What if you're building backend systems for IoT, the Internet of Things, where literally thousands of devices are pinging your server simultaneously? Falcon is custom built for it. And, of course, any inherently high-traffic web service where handling immense volumes of concurrent requests with absolutely minimal latency is quite literally the difference between massive success and a total server crash. However, we always want to give you the full picture in this explainer, so there is a transparent caveat you definitely need to consider. Beginners beware. Because Falcon intentionally lacks those built-in full-stack conveniences, there are no training wheels here. It demands a solid foundational grasp of web development and RESTful API mechanics from the developer using it. You really need to understand how HTTP works under the hood because, well, you're going to be working a lot closer to the metal. But listen, if you do have that foundation, you are in incredibly good company. Just to deliver some final social proof here, you don't just have to take our word for it. Enterprise giants absolutely trust Falcon's architecture. Companies like Rackspace, massive open-source cloud computing platforms like OpenStack, and numerous large-scale IoT platforms are relying on Falcon right now to run their massive, high-stakes infrastructure. They choose it because when millions of requests are on the line, performance isn't just some nice luxury. It is a hard requirement. Which brings us to our final takeaway. The digital environment today is just relentless. Microservices and IoT applications are demanding absolute peak efficiency from our servers. So take a step back and evaluate your current tech stack. Look at the API you're building tomorrow. Is it time to finally trade in that reliable, feature-heavy family sedan for an F1 race car? Will Falcon power your next API? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep building, and I'll catch you next time.